All right, everybody, welcome back to the Rip City Roundtable Podcast, where your host Corey here is here with one of his best friends, Aaron, the Dr. Brown. Aaron, Rip City, the Roundtable here, we've taken a little minute. We've taken a break. There was some Christmas, there was some New Year's, there was some traveling. You're out on the West Coast right now, right? Normally you're in Texas here with me, and so it's been a minute since people have heard from us, but I appreciate you coming on. Are you coming back to Texas soon? Are you going to be on the West Coast forever? What's the deal?
Yes, thank you, Corey. It's good to be back. Well, greetings, listeners. And yeah, I am on the West Coast doing some work up and down the coast. I was in Southern California for a bit, and now I'm up in Seattle, so all up and down. And before that, I was in Portland, which I think we'll talk about a little bit.
Yes, you were back home. Got to hang out with the family, which was so nice. Probably everybody doing okay? Mom, dad, brother, everybody.
Oh yeah. It was a full house. The first time we've all been there with our kids, and it just got very chaotic.
Which is now going to be what it is for the next 18 years.
That's right. I don't think it gets less chaotic.
Yeah, it won't. Your sister has a baby now, right? How old is the boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay.
He's 10 months.
Wow, dude, that was a wild house. That was a wild house.
It was.
Man, cool. Well, the benefits of you being back in Portland is you got to go to a game, man. You got to go. Wow. I was like, you sent me a picture, and I was like so jealous. It got me thinking, I don't remember the last game I've been to, live at Moda. I have no idea. I literally could not think.
Well, it's hard when we just don't go back that often. The game has to line up, and it just so happened we stayed long enough that they were playing some games in Portland. It worked out this year, so had to jump at the opportunity.
Love it, man. Love it. All right, well, we're gonna hear about your experience because I need to live vicariously through you because I haven't been to one forever. But what I'm gonna do here is we're gonna kind of go in order. So we're gonna kind of cover the games as they've happened since we've been on last, and we're gonna start. This is a while back. This is the day after Christmas, which I know feels like 5 years ago now. But the Blazers' home game against the Jazz, yours truly here, covered the game, did the analysis of it. And Aaron, I'm not going to lie, I was torn throughout the game. Our managing editor, the lovely Dave Decker, told me I needed to be more positive about the games themselves. So I was trying, but I wanted us to lose partly. And because Utah, they're battling us, man, for the number one pick. So I did not want us to win. However, can I give a preference to this, Aaron? Once the game got close towards the end, you just can't be in full tank mode. I just ended up starting to root for the team. And then when Scoot hits the game winner, I was like, dang, if there was a guy that needed that, the fans got to see it, his teammates got to experience it, that's probably a good outcome. And so his interview afterwards was kind of cringe. He was like, man, I'm money. I'm the money guy. Or he's like, I make the money. I make the money. That's why I hit the big shots. And it's like, oh, Scoot, just kind of be humble here, man. You're not the big money guy right now.
You're supposed to say, well, my teammates trusted me and I just had a good look. And
had a good look and it fell. And, shout out to Nate Bjorgen, who's the assistant coach that coached because Chauncey was out that game. He could have given all the credit to Nate because I thought he actually coached a really good game against Utah. But instead, Scoot went the other way. So that's fine. Okay, now we get to your game, Aaron. So this is Saturday, December 28th. We're playing the Mavericks. The Mavericks, Kyrie Irving, they're coming into town.
Yes.
Tell me about the experience.
Yeah. So I'll start from the very top, just driving up and seeing the Moda Center and all the memories. Because I didn't go to a ton of games, but I've been to a few games. And there was a surprising amount of nostalgia just going back into the building. It was just like, oh man, this just feels really good. I just driving up was just feeling like super excited just to be there. My uncle, who is a longtime Blazer fan, he has season tickets, and he's the one who we mentioned in the first episode turned us on to Blazers Edge, turned me on to Blazers Edge, who then turned you on to Blazers Edge.
Yeah,
so
he's the reason we're here right now doing this.
That's right.
Yeah.
So big part. So I messaged him to get together before the game. So we actually went to Cartside, which is like a little place that has food carts and like a bar and stuff, just 2 blocks up from the Moda Center. And so we parked there.
It's like a food truck park, or what?
Sort of, yeah. They have like a couple food trucks outside, and then the bar kind of opens up to the food truck area. I'm sure Portlanders know what Cartside is.
Well, they're gonna be the next sponsor of the Rip City Roundtable Podcast. Cartside.
No, it's a great place. I mean, there were a ton of people there watching the games and getting ready for the game and stuff. So it was just like a fun atmosphere to start. Ate some food there. Walked over to the Moda Center from there, and met up with. So I took my wife and my friend Jeff, who also lives in Portland. The 3 of us went, and then JJ, my uncle had his own seats. So we started. We were at the second to last row, all the way at the top.
Baby.
Where the true fans lie. And man, I'm telling you, Corey, and I found out later, this was probably the most packed game that Blazers have had all year. That's really? That's what my uncle said, because I think because Christmas, there's a lot of people in from out of town. I talked to a couple of people who sat near us this is the one game they go to the whole year. Like, so there was a lot of things that came together. Okay. I think people wanted to see Luka, didn't get to see Luka. That was another thing. So
that's a bummer.
But it was a good energy because the place was full. People were fighting over seats in the 300 level where I was sitting. They were like, this lady was coming like, "Is this your seat?" And they're like, "No, like you got to move." Everyone's trying to sit, and like it was packed. I'm telling you, this was my opening experience. It's like all this is going on. So that sets the stage. Then the game starts, and man, the Blazers played so well. First off, Shaedon Sharpe jumped off the page, seeing him live. And he had a really good game that game. I think he was the leading scorer on the Blazers that game.
He might have been. I know Ayton had a really good game, I think.
Shaedon was it. So it was a fun game because Shaedon, Denny, DeAndre, and Simons all had 20 points, over 20 points, and it was just a really balanced score night. But Shaedon Sharpe definitely jumped off the page. I really like where his game is going. He's making the right decisions.
Does he look like, when he came in the league a couple years ago, he was like a lot of rookies, but they're thin framed. It's like, can he handle like the physicality of the NBA? And obviously he's definitely gotten a lot bigger when you see him on TV. But in person, he definitely like draws your eye. Like you're watching him move around and play.
I think he's the one Blazer out of, I'd say, probably the one who most like can do a thing that jumps off the page. Like he has the ability to make really astounding plays, which really comes through live, right? I think in that game there was a play where he beat someone off the dribble and dunked the ball and is like, oh, like that's like a super athletic, super fun to watch play, and he's the only one that's really doing that on a consistent basis when I'm watching the things that like jump off the page, right? So was very excited to see Shaedon. He had a very good game. Loved it.
Can I ask one other question?
Yeah.
Who during the starting lineup, do you remember who got the most like cheers? Like when they're like, and from blah 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 academy.
Yeah, it's a good question. We actually strolled in as they were doing that, so I couldn't tell you. We were
that's fine.
We were in the outer foyer during the announcements.
All right.
I feel like I know. I was really bummed to miss that. I was really bummed to miss the opening.
Oh, it's always the opening and the intro video. I feel like we used to have some really good intro videos, and on League Pass, like I can watch like the studio feed or the in-game arena feed. And sometimes I'm like, the video kind of gets me going now. Not really. I feel like we used to have some really good ones. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so Shaedon jumped off the screen or jumped off your eyeballs.
Yes. And then funnily enough, I mean, so it's still the case that the only live games I've seen have been Dallas versus Portland in the last 2 years. And in both cases, Luka sat. And in both games, Kyrie was clearly the best player on the floor. I don't know what it is about playing us that makes Kyrie just go off. But he did it again, and he really was clearly the best player on the floor. And I think that also tells a story about the Blazers, right? We just still don't have that number one guy.
Yeah.
Who's I mean, guy every night,
You read it, this box score, 4 people in the 20s, and then Jeremy Grant had 14, and then Scoot off the bench had 19. And so it was this very even scoring deal. And then you go to Dallas and it's Kyrie 46. I will say, and we don't talk about sports betting a lot on this show, but I was in Colorado when this game happened, and so I might have done a little FanDuel wager. And FanDuel had the over-under for Kyrie's points for this game were 24.5. I was like, over. No Luka. This guy's gonna have 50. I literally was like, do I click the 50 button? And I almost did. It would have been a big payout, but he didn't get there. So okay, but yeah, Kyrie. Yeah. You need to go to every Portland Dallas game because then Luka won't play. What did you do to Luka? Why doesn't?
Well, I wanted to see Luka. I was bummed. I was like, because we're still kind of rooting for losses. I'm like, I want to see Luka. What is it about this guy live? You just want to see the greats play live, and I haven't been able to do that.
Can I say something real quick? I'm not trying to go off another tangent here, but in this new age of how people consume basketball, how I consume basketball, it's a lot of it's social media, it's clips, it's highlights. And then living in Waco, Texas here, for people that don't know, we're halfway between Dallas and Austin. If I want to go catch a game, it's go to you in Dallas and we go to a Mavericks game. But I have never seen Giannis live. I've never seen Jokic live. I've never seen Luka live. I mean, Wemby yet. I know he just got in the league, but it's like Aaron. It's like back in the day. I'm like, I saw Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan, a too much of Kobe and Shaq. I saw those guys, but it's like now as an older person not living in a city with a basketball team, I've never, and I just realized that now as we're recording this, that
you got to get to some games. Yeah, we got to go try to catch a few more games, I think.
We do. Anyway, sorry. Okay. So Kyrie, clearly the best player on the floor.
Yeah. But I mean, the team just played really well. Denny had a really great game. He set the pace when things started to fade. Simons was just consistent, doing what he needed to do. And Scoot had a really great game. And so I'll say at halftime, I don't know if I should admit this, but we moved seats to sit where my uncle sits because he had some open seats near him.
Nice.
He said, hey, come on down. Everyone's cool if you come down. So we moved down and had much better view from the 200 level. See,
I missed that part. I thought your uncle had the seats in the 300s.
No,
he had the 200s.
Yeah. So
Uncle KJ. Okay.
So we moved down with them, and we're talking to those guys. They're all season ticket holders around us, and one of the things that was said a lot is wait, is Scoot good now? Is Scoot good now? What's happening? Is Scoot good? Because between the Jazz game and that game, and I think even the game before that, he'd been putting up some really good numbers, leading the second unit, scoring in the high teens, low 20s, getting high assist numbers, and making the right reads, making the right plays, and that continued.
And playing pretty good defense too. He's physical enough, and he's obviously very quick, so he can stay in front of his guy. But did his speed? Did he look fast? Did any of that? Do you recall any of that?
He looked he looked comfortable. I think a lot of times when he has the ball, he plays a little too fast, and I think he was making the right reads, making the passes, driving when he needed to. When he drove to the basket, it looked like he was making the right play and he had the clear lane. So I think all that was good. I think he's still when when the ball swings to like Shaedon for a three, you're like, oh, that's going in. And when it swings to Scoot, you're like, ooh, oh, it went in. Oh, okay. Like you're just like not as confident still.
Yeah. Yep. Not. It's just something with the form. It doesn't look as fluid. Like Steph Curry's form looks like a knife going through butter. It's just so smooth. It's so smooth. Scoots looks like he's trying to like put a hanger on the coat rack or something. Like
there's like a little hitch or something.
Little hitch. Yeah. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that was all. I felt all those things live and in person, which was fun. I just think it's just different when you see it in person.
Yeah.
And then obviously we won the game. It was a close game. I think it felt like the Mavs gave us the game because Kyrie, as we said, was unstoppable. And then for the last like 2 minutes, they just didn't pass him the ball. I don't know what happened. We were all sitting there like, wait, is Kyrie not going to touch the ball? What's going on? And then they just stopped trying and we won the game. And we were like, oh, okay, we won.
It's a defensive scheme we used, Aaron. We took him out of the game. Clearly. Yeah.
We let him to get to 46, but no more. No more than 46.
It was all the strategy. Lure him in. That fool Kyrie.
I don't know. I think he may have just been gassed. I don't know. He just didn't go get the ball. And yeah, other things. Let's see. I forgot. I think I knew this, but I had forgotten that the blimp is gone because it ran into people or something. Is that a thing that happened? Did you know this?
What? When did that happen?
Apparently, you remember the blimp.
It would fly around and drop the tickets.
Yeah. Apparently, it malfunctioned a while back. This was like a couple years ago, I think. But it malfunctioned and ran into people in the crowd.
Oh no, dude! This is why we can't have nice things anymore. What are we doing? You know, Aaron, the Wright brothers, their plane crashed too when they tried to fly.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on,
we keep flying.
That blimp serviced, thousands of games before it hit someone. Yeah. Let's give him a second chance.
Bring it back.
I like the blimp. I miss the blimp.
Did they do like the t-shirt toss and all that stuff too?
They did. Yeah. We were not in prime position for t-shirt catching.
Yeah. The other kind of either be high up or in the hundreds there where they're chucking them or something. So,
but the crowd had great energy. It was a lot of fun. In a close game that we won, everyone was celebrating. The confetti dropped. It was all good vibes that night in Portland. So
you got the McDonald's 100-point deal, right?
Yeah. I think you have to have the app or something for that. They don't give out the little. Yeah.
Man, remember back in the day, the little chalupa. You got the chalupas.
I know.
And you could go through the side door and come back in. Go to a different person.
And they're like, yeah, we don't care. Here, just take them.
Yeah, just take them. Whatever. Make that. You can give it to Taco Bell. Like they don't. I almost called it McDonald's. You go to Taco Bell. Did Clingan look big?
It seemed. I feel like compared to other games that I've watched on TV, he wasn't in the right position. Like people were able to take advantage of him. Okay. He didn't have the impact on defense that I'm used to seeing.
Okay.
And so probably not his best game. He also looked like he took a step back in terms of, I remember watching games where he in the offense looked comfortable, like passing the ball, making the right decisions. Now it seemed like he just wasn't in the right spots that game. It wasn't a good game for him, I think.
Yeah, that injury kind of put him on a different pathway, and I don't know if he's like favoring anything or he just, in my opinion, came out the gates the first 2 weeks of the season and was just like made a ton of impact, a positive impact. Yeah. And right now, and maybe this is rookie season stuff. He's probably played, or with the Blazers, 30 at this point, we're 11-20. So that was 31 games. I mean, that's almost how many games he would have played at UConn for a whole season. So it's just a big transition. But I was just curious if he looked any certain way there.
Not a great night for him, I think. And DA actually Ayton had a really good night. Jeremy Grant's the only one who didn't play very well, and he's kind of hurt now. And I think there was some stuff leading into that.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm getting a call. Yeah, I think Jeremy Grant's going to be traded soon, Aaron. I think
Yeah.
that's what's going on here. So, but I don't know. That's just me. I have no inside information there. Could you notice Ayton's? I think always with DA, it's the body language.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you were paying attention to it or not, but like, it's like when there's a timeout or when there's a stoppage in play, and you don't get to see that stuff on TV because they'll cut away to whatever. But when you're there, it's like you can watch everybody doing everything. Did you ever like your eyes like follow a player just to kind of see how they were interacting with their teammates or whatever?
It's a great point, Corey. No.
Oh,
No. I mean, so like the timeouts and stuff, they huddle around the players, right? And you don't, I don't know, not from where I was sitting, you can't really see any of that. But
well, from the 300s, it's tough. But you get down to the 200s, you can see a little bit more. You can see a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah.
He was definitely. I mean, it's a game where he was scoring, he was rebounding, he was playing pretty good defense. I'd say he was definitely more into it. I think he was. There were times where he was standing on the sideline cheering and stuff too. So, like, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that. And
okay. All right.
So I mean,
I'm quoting you. You
yeah.
saw him cheering. Okay, my final question, and then if you want to say anything else about the game, do you feel like the crowd's favorite is Advia at this point?
Oh, it's a good question.
I mean, he plays super
Crowd's
tough.
favorite, yeah.
I mean, he can handle the ball. He's like on the ground. He's like getting in the face of some of the opponents. He's like very charismatic, and it's like he's like, "Hey, Denny, we're trying to lose," like, and he doesn't care. And he was on Washington, so he knows how to play on a bad team. But he just seems like to me like that's the one the crowd, because he's the newest player, so they're like, "Let's get behind him." Do you feel that?
Yeah, I would say there definitely is some love for Denny. I think that night there was a lot of love for Sharpe because he was hitting shots in big moments. I think probably the two of those would got the most cheers, but it was all good vibes that night. So
okay, all good vibes. I like it. Well, Blazers win 126-122, beat the Mavs, like you mentioned. Did not have Luka, but that's okay. Still fun to get a win, even though sometimes we might have wanted a loss, but that's okay.
I was there in person, so I appreciated the win.
You were there in person. We got the dub. So
and then we started doing what we needed to do after that.
And then we get back at it. So let's run through this real quick here. So then on the 30th, December 30th, we played the 76ers, who we always knew would start to get wins, right? Because they were like at the bottom of the league, Aaron. Remember when like basically Embiid, everybody was hurt. And so they come into Portland, win 125-103. They had their full squad. Paul George, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah.
So,
and fine. We're fine with that one.
We're fine with that one. I think, I think they were 13 and 17 at this point. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to make it interesting. I don't know if their team will gel properly until, when it gets to that point. But so anyway, they get the dub. Then I want to talk about this game for a quick second. So then the next night, not the next night, January 2nd, we play the Lakers. Okay. And I was telling you this, I watched this on TV. It still amazes me at 40 years old, LeBron just looks incredible. Like, I don't really know, like watching Tom Brady play quarterback at 44 or 43, 44, whenever he won that Super Bowl with the Bucks. Like, I think a quarterback, if you have like 5 very large men in front of you to block people and you never really get touched and you're like tall and you have the arm speed and you're smart, I think you could play quarterback until you're like 48 or 49, right? I mean, you can just, 49. Oh yeah, Aaron, come on. You could like, are you going to have the
arm speed, I guess. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And that was Tom Brady, right? Always like the little 5-yard out, throw it to the running back, like Wes Welker, Amendola. Like, Brady could have kept playing. At basketball, it's like, I mean, you got to like be in it. And LeBron just looks so physical and his 3-point shot, although looks like we're going to attack a castle and we need LeBron James to start hoisting the rocks over the wall. Like, I feel like sometimes it just looks like a trebuchet or something, but they go in, and that was my biggest thing of that game. I always want to beat the Lakers, but we end up losing 114-106. But LeBron just looks so good. No Anthony Davis in this game, Aaron. And I think maybe that's why LeBron, his stat line, 38 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, 7 for 10, 7 of 10 from 3-point range. Do you notice this, LeBron? Am I just on an island here on this, or what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I think he has to do it on more. He can't do it as often, right? He's not going to do that every night, but he still can. He still can, and obviously the Blazers don't have like the best defenders for LeBron. I mean, who does though? I mean, it's kind of
I know. Well,
he's so big and quick for his size, and just you're not wrong. I mean, you're not the only one who's mentioned it. I think
I think I'm not the only. Do you know LeBron still plays well? Like, I don't think that's a hot take. This will be my insight though on the game. So no Anthony Davis. Can you tell me? And if you know, then you're cheating. But DeAndre Ayton, like, how many points and rebounds do you think he had?
Oh, it's a good. I don't know. You would think with Ayton out, he'd be putting up like 20 points. But based on your question, I'm going to say he had like 9. 6.6
rebounds. Ooh. Like, come on, like that's
rebounds.
6 rebounds. That's not DA. No. And it's like you go into a game, no Anthony Davis, DeAndre Ayton. I think if he was that guy, like that number 1 pick guy, he would have feasted. Like, and I don't think he would even have ever left Phoenix, so he wouldn't even be on our team right now.
I don't know who the Lakers' backup center is.
It's not. I think LeBron was the backup center. Jackson Hayes was who came in the game and played, but he only played 18 minutes. Like, there wasn't really anybody. Like, Rui Hachimura isn't gonna provide any resistance. Like, what Ayton had to go through against the Mavericks was actually more threatening. Lively, Gafford.
Lively didn't play that game, but
no Lively. Okay,
but Gafford did all the things that you would have wanted DA to be doing. Like, there was a point in the game where we couldn't drive to the hoop because Gafford had just denied everyone who had come near for a stretch. That was when it looked like we weren't going to win the game because we just couldn't get a bucket, and it was because of Gafford. And that's what you're kind of hoping Clingan brings. You would hope DeAndre Ayton could bring, but he's never really shown those defensive chops. Mm-mm. But it was definitely impactful. Thank you for reminding me about
no
Gafford.
Problem. No, it's fine. We were just going back to that game. I'm just saying, it's not a good performance. I think DA if he has a normal game, we win. If he has 15 points, 12 rebounds, we probably win.
Yeah,
we probably win. So he's not the answer.
Good point. Good analysis.
All right, then the Dame game, which doesn't have the same kind of flair that it did last season. The Blazers go to the Bucks, who normally, when Lillard was on our team, Milwaukee just destroyed us every time we played them. Like, we never could beat that team with Giannis when it was CJ and Dame. And now that Dame is on the Bucks, we just beat the Bucks all the time. So this is, 105-102. Portland goes in and gets a big upset against Milwaukee, who pretty much, Aaron, had their team.
Giannis play that game? I don't think he did.
Oh, he played. Giannis. This is their starting lineup. Giannis, Middleton, Brook Lopez, Lillard, and then they did have Andre Jackson, who's been kind of in and out of the starting lineup, but he played. And then their bench, Bobby Portis, Gary Trent Jr., Taurean Prince. They had their team.
Couldn't hang with the Blazers.
Couldn't hang with the Blazers. I think Dame, there's something. He can't perform well or something. 16 points, 5 of 15 from the field was Lillard. Simons, I think, takes those games probably personal. Not like that he doesn't like Dame, but I think he's like, this is my mentor guy. and I want
Yeah,
to come,
I think
and
there's enough guys on the team like Sharp and Simons and maybe just those two, but those are the
yeah,
guys that were
pretty
there
much
with
those
Dame,
two,
right?
just
And
those two. Yeah, it's just those two.
it's just those
Everyone
two.
else, yeah, everyone else is new.
But I think Simons played really well that game, right? I saw some highlights.
Yeah.
He won making shots,
Yep.
and he's actually been the most consistent Blazer, I think, over this last couple weeks.
Man, I heard a take. Yeah, the Bucks were like up 2 with 32 seconds left, and Simons
Yeah,
kind of
I saw that.
carried the way for us there at the end.
Yeah,
Someone said it might have been Meringue. I forget now. I don't know who I'm giving credit to. They were like, "Do we have the point guard? Is Simons our point guard of the future? Have we been staring at it the whole time, and we need to just trade Scoot, and it's Simons and Sharpe?" And I'm just not. I don't like it. I don't think that's the case, Aaron. I don't think it is. I've seen too much.
yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it's Simons?
So the thing, I think Simons can be. He's very good, obviously, but I think when he is the focus point of the defensive scheme, when you scheme against him, I think he struggles. He's not a player who can, make an impact when he's getting double teamed all game. And it's just,
No.
I just think I've seen him be able to be shut down by a good defense.
Yeah.
In a way that you would want if your number one scorer option could not be shut down. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think we would, this starting lineup of like Sharpe, Simons, Ayton, Avdia, and Kamara is talented enough to win games. Like that's a very good starting lineup. Like I could probably go through Eastern Conference teams and they would be like, yeah, we'll trade. We want that starting lineup.
Right.
And it's still not really happening. And I know that partly it's like the mojo's probably a little down around the team right now, but like, I don't know. I don't think it's Simons. He did have a good game. I think he takes those games personal against Dame. But I'm still not convinced because then we go to the next night. Or not the next night, the next game against the Detroit Pistons, who are playing pretty well right now. They're 18-18, but they're used to being like one win at this point. So 18-18 is like a miraculous event. Simons goes off 36 points, Aaron, in this game. This is the last game the Blazers played. 36 points, but the Blazers lose 118-115 against the Pistons, who did not have Jaden Ivey, probably their second or third best player. Cunningham has been playing really well this season, 32 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, and the Blazers lose to the Detroit Pistons. So I think I would say this proves the point, but I just think Simons goes off, Blazers still lose, and I know that means we have other problems we need to fix as a team, so it's not all Simons' fault. But do you think, what of these two things stand out more to you? That Simons scored 36, had 9 assists in a loss, or that Scoot played 19 minutes and had 0 points and 3 assists?
Oh, I think the Scoot one is the one that anytime you see a 0, you're just like, what happened? Oh, gosh.
And 4 turnovers. Oh, Scoot, 4 turnovers. His last 5 games, he had 1 turnover against the Mavericks, played really well, obviously, like you said. Then 3 turnovers against Philly, 3 turnovers against the Lakers, 3 turnovers against the Bucks, and then 4 turnovers against the Detroit Pistons. That sucks. Yeah, that stands out more.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know what happened. I didn't get to see that game. I saw some of the Bucks game, but I had not seen the Pistons game. I've been traveling, haven't had a chance. Yeah. It's concerning though that box score doesn't feel great. That it kind of seems like he's losing control a little bit, and maybe it's just a bad game. Hopefully he bounces back. But
and Simons obviously played well, like kept us in the game. Like, we were right there. We were right there in it to win it. We're up, 106, 104 with 4 minutes left, and then just couldn't close it out down the stretch.
And we talked about all these games. It's fun to recap, but as we've done every episode, we're still kind of looking ahead, right? And like, what are the things we can take away that we can build on, right? And
Yep.
it was looking like Scoot was a player who at the minimum could be the leading, off the bench guy, right? Like leading that second unit, getting good numbers in minutes against second units. Like that seemed to be a good role for him. You'd hope it'd be a little more consistent, and maybe that's just something he'll develop, that consistency and picking his spots better. But
Yeah.
a little bit.
I just don't know how to phrase this. He's not a bench guy. Like he's
Personality
not.
wise,
No, yep. He's
yeah.
not. With the post game interview against the Jazz, he's not like wired that way. And now, can his performance get up to the point? That's the question mark. But he just isn't. There are just some guys, Aaron, that are just not bench people. I think it takes a lot. I think like a Jamal Crawford, he had to like swallow pride to go come off the bench and be like the best sixth man ever, right? Like I think these guys, you have to have like a certain underdog mentality, I think, to be like a really good bench player. And Scoot has been like praised most of his life that he's like the best player on the court. And I don't know if that's a mentality shift or if you just want to like literally lean into it and see what you get out of it. But I still don't think the Blazers know what they have until that guy is starting and we see like 30 games of it or something. I don't think the bench thing works for him. I still don't know why we do that. Makes no sense to me why we do that.
I mean, I think, we're all kind of waiting to see if Simons gets traded at some point and that spot opens up, right? Because, I mean, Scoot hasn't earned that starting spot. Sharpe and Simons are playing better than him.
Yeah.
And kind of fit better together than, when he was starting with Shaedon. So, like, maybe he can earn his way there. I hope he does. I like a little healthy competition,
Yep.
That's kind of.
That's what you want. No, that's what you want.
We haven't mentioned Tumani, who I think we were really excited for at the beginning of the season. He was hurt for a while, right?
Yeah, he's been in and out. He played against the Pistons. He didn't play against the Mavericks when the game you
right.
You went to.
I didn't get to see him play, unfortunately, but
I have seen enough from Tumani Kamara. I would put the man on ice for this season.
Okay.
I've seen enough. I've seen enough. He's made the improvements that I wanted to see. I mean, let's just check his 3-point split right now. Obviously, the last 10 games have not been great. He's come down a little bit. He was at 40% pretty much all year. He's at 35% from the 3-point spot, which is my primary indicator for Tumani this season is just can he keep it close to 40%? And if he can, lock him up, man. Like that guy, he is incredible. In the games where he is like locked in, which is most games, and he's just a difference maker. Him and Advia are just together like a terror. And that's your 3 and your 4. That's your 3 and your 4 for a really long time. I wouldn't change it. I know they kind of did Tumani at the 2 for a minute there, or Advia was coming off the bench. Now that's your 3 and your 4, and rotate Clingan, get the number 1 pick, and you got Cooper Flag at the 5, and then you figure out Sharpe and one other piece. Maybe it's Scoot, maybe it's something else, but like, yeah, Tumani has just been great. That's why I think we haven't brought him up, Aaron. It's like, I already know. Like I already know.
So looking ahead to, talking about number 1 pick. I mean, hopefully the Blazers get a top 3 or 4. We jump into that lottery. I mean, there's some real good, fierce competition for the worst record in the NBA. I don't know that we're gonna get the best odds, but they've flattened the odds, right? So like even if you're, the 11th or 12th place team in your division or whatever, in your conference, you still have a pretty good chance of jumping into that top spot like Atlanta did last year and many teams have done before. My point is, have you looked into any of the other guys besides Cooper Flag? Because there is talk, there are some pretty good players at the top of this draft. The first 2, 3, 4 players.
Can I ask you this question first before we dive into that? Are you drafting here for a need for the team, Or are you just going to say, oh, whoever's the best player available, let's just grab that player?
You got to go best available at the top. We're still looking for that number one guy. If you have to draft another guard because that's the best player available at that spot, even though you're full of guards, you got to get it.
I don't. I think
disagree?
I think I'm in the minority there. I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, let's say someone sent me and because they knew I'm a big Blazers fan. It's one of our podcasters here at Rogue Media Network, and he covers Baylor. He's a big Baylor guy. He does Locked On Baylor podcast, and the Blazers were mock draft to take VJ Edgecombe at 6th, and VJ, he's the freshman phenom for Baylor, the highest recruited player in Baylor history. His NIL deal is in the millions, and I don't know if I want VJ. I think VJ is a great player. He's had a really slow start. I don't want to get into college basketball talk, but he hasn't really helped Baylor. We haven't won a big game really yet, and VJ hasn't jumped off the page at me. But he would just log jam. Like, we have Tumani, we have Advia. I don't think we need another like swing guy to fit. Like, we need I believe Scoot's the guy, but that's if he's not, we need a point guard. And Clingan, I'm still on team Clingan, but I think Clingan is going to be paired best with another guy. I don't think Clingan's going to have all of the tools you need for a center. And so I think you got to pair him with another big. So I still think we need a center or we need a point guard, Aaron. I think our 2-3-4 is locked up. So I would go Ace Bailey's in there too, and Ace is an incredible player, and he'd probably be one that we would draft anyway, and I'd probably be okay with it. But he fits into that realm too. So I'm kind of just like, oh, come on, Cooper, just fall to us. Or if we had a point guard like Harper, I think I forget his first name, but he's Ace's teammate at Rutgers. He's a point guard. He's like 6'6". Maybe take Harper then. Like take Harper. But if you're staring at like Harper or Edgecombe and you think VJ's better, take Harper because he fits. He fits the team. That's what we did with Dame. No one, I'm sorry, unless you were like in on it, no one knew who Dame Lillard was when Portland drafted. You were like, huh? This point guard from Weber State?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But we needed a point guard. Like I remember that draft, and I'm not gonna lie to people. I was in that boat. I was like, Lillard, okay, Damian Lillard, but he was a point guard, and we didn't have one. We needed a point guard to go with West and Batum and LaMarcus. We needed a point guard.
So does it make a difference to you? Let's say you're picking like 3rd or 2nd, right?
Okay.
So Cooper's off, but you're basically getting your pick from the rest of the crop. Do you still draft by need, or do you just go best available when you're that high?
I think you fill by the need.
Huh.
Okay, so let's just I've pulled it up since now because I can't forget them. Okay, so like let's say Cooper's off the okay. Harper is 2nd to Washington. This is a mock from the January 4th. Harper 2nd, Ace Bailey to Charlotte, Trey Johnson plays at Texas right now. He's a shooting guard going to Utah. Igor from BYU going to Toronto. And then at the 6th pick, Boogie Fland at Arkansas, point guard, going to Portland. So this board actually has him going to Portland at 6 instead of VJ, who's going to Philly at 8. So, and VJ, I guess it can be listed as a point guard, shooting guard. I guess that's what they have it listed here. For Baylor, he's like a 4. Or something.
Oh, really?
He's like a 3 or a 4, like on our team. So I don't know. I still think if it's that even, Aaron, if this is like you have Wemby or something, and on your team you have Jokic already, okay, then you draft Wembanyama. Like I'm not an idiot. Like when they're that good, there's levels to it.
So you don't think anyone? Okay, you don't think anyone jumps up above. Other than Cooper Flag, you don't think anyone's like that level?
I think after Cooper, I think you can have debates over really great players. And that's why this draft is awesome, because there's like 5 or 6 other players besides Cooper that are like all amazing and could be all stars. So, but I think you can have arguments against all those. I don't think there's another clear cut like Ace Bailey's awesome, but I don't think he's like at that tier above where he's just better than everybody else. So you just got to pick him no matter what your team is. That's not beyond Cooper Flag. That's not, in my opinion,
Okay.
where people are at. I think everyone's Cooper, or then after that you can start to have debates.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I was hearing there's like a second, the next like 2-3 guys, but I guess there's some debate on who those guys are. So.
Yeah, and that's just me, man. Like forever, like it was Cooper and Ace Bailey, right? Those are kind of the two that were like head above shoulders. And then Harper entered in the conversation, and then VJ started to be in there as like a top 5 guy. And I think as the seasons now are going to play out, obviously things shift around, but I just think you watch Cooper Flag and he just got it, man. That guy, but if you get 2, 3, or 4, I think you're fine. But like even in our draft 2 years ago where we took Scoot at 3, like everyone at this point is going to remember, Wemby at 1. And it was like Brandon Miller was 2. Like, and Brandon's really good. And we'll see about Scoot. And like the Thompson twins have been good, especially Amen on Houston. But like even that draft, they were like, oh, this is a top 3 draft. Like you just got to get one of the top 3 picks. And we did. And I don't.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, so.
We'll see.
Cool. Hey, can I leave on a positive note real quick?
Sure.
Well, actually, I'm going to say my normal, which is a negative, and then I'll leave on a positive. Just got to read off the standings because that's what I do every episode. But we go from the bottom up, just so everybody knows where we're at. Washington, 6 wins, 28 losses. They're the worst team in the NBA, and they are not going to move from there. I don't think Portland has a chance to catch Washington.
They're next level bad.
Next level bad. We just got to be bottom 3, right? If we get bottom 3, we all get the same odds. So Washington can be the worst. That's fine. New Orleans is next. 7 wins, 30 losses. They did get Zion back last night. I don't know if you noticed. I can't remember. Okay, well, you and I are in 2 fantasy leagues together.
Zion.
I had him. I had him in one of them. I just waited. I waited him out. So I noticed he came back. So I think New Orleans, I think they're going to see where they're at come the trade deadline. They're going to give themselves a month. And I think if they can reel off like 6 wins in a row, I think that's a team that thinks, if we get into the play-in and we have a healthy team, we could potentially make a run. So I think New Orleans is going to jump, but they're second worst. All right, real quick. Finish it off, Aaron. Toronto, 8-28. They're not going anywhere. They're terrible. Charlotte, 8-27. They are going to start making waves. LaMelo's back. Miles Bridges is playing well. And Brandon Miller was hurt for a minute. I think you dropped him, maybe?
I did, yeah.
You did. I think I picked him up. Thank you. And so he's playing well. And then Utah, I think, is always going to be a little frisky, but that's who we're going to battle. So it goes Washington, New Orleans, Toronto, Charlotte, Utah, Portland. So we got to battle Utah. We can slide down. So that's I just got to give the update because that's what we're competing for. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, don't listen to the podcast.
No, I agree. I mean, that Utah win was kind of a bummer.
It's going to come back to bite us. But my positive, 32 assists against the Detroit Pistons. It's a season high in assists. We have been assisting the ball. We've been passing so much better in the last 7 or 8 games. And that is a mark of a really good team. I think if you could tell me one stat, and I know stats can be whatever, right? You can pull whatever you want out of them, but assists, all the great teams. That 2014 Spurs team is like the clinic for passing. The Golden State Warriors, you can talk about all the things they were and Kevin Durant, but they were so good at passing. It probably helped that they could make the shots too, but they were so good at passing. LeBron James passing. I think if one number to watch, Aaron, if you just go check a box score because you don't have time to watch a game, just see how many assists we had. Love it.
It's a great point. I think it shows, that there is at least a culture that's being built. We are putting together team basketball. It's more fun to watch when the ball's moving around. And I think that's a good sign. I mean, that's the other thing that you want from a down season where you're just trying to get a draft pick. You want to see that there's a culture being in place, that the players are having fun, that your team is not just the Wizards.
Sorry, Washington. All right. My
They know
friend
it's
Aaron, the doctor, thanks for coming in to make us feel better today. Thank you for
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's fun to share my story. I had a great time watching the Blazers live. If you're in Portland and you're like, I don't know if I should go, it's fun most of the time.
I think we play Dallas. Don't we play Dallas soon in Dallas?
Yeah, I think it's this week because you asked me and I said I was gone.
And you were gone.
So I think it's maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure.
I think you're right. Yeah, we play the Pelicans. Ooh, that's another big game. We play the Pelicans tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, come on, baby. Come on, Portland. You know what you got to do. We play Dallas on the 9th this Thursday. There could be snow. So who knows?
That's true. Yeah.
All right, Aaron, as always, it's a great day to be a Blazer.
To be a Blazer.